Season 3, Day 18. So today we are welcoming our lovely angel, Sister Sia, and her parents. So welcome, angel, Sister Sia.
Hello, Sister Sia, and hello, Sister Sia's parents.
Om Shanti,
Sister
Gayatri.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Sister Gayatri. My name is Sia. This is my
Let me tell
mother.
you something, Sia. Let me tell you something before you start. You're going to ask me questions, and I'm going to answer them. But I'm also going to ask Sister Mohini. Did I answer them right? Did I fulfill? So, go on. Tell me.
So this is my mother, Sister Swati, and this is my father, Brother Girish. I am so honored and delighted to be here with you, and we're so thankful for this wonderful opportunity. I have attended Avyakti Parivar classes ever since they started, and I have grown so much from those valuable teachings. I'm so grateful for that. Mohini Didi ji, Bhumi Didi, and all of the guardian angels have been so supportive, and I'm very thankful for their sustenance. So, Sister Gayatri, before I go ahead with my questions, I'm curious to know, were you in school or college when you were first introduced to Baba's knowledge, or was it sometime else?
It was sometime else. I had finished my school and college, and I had just started working at the University of Guyana in my country. And within the first year of working there, Sister Jayanti came to Guyana, and I was then introduced to Baba because she actually came to our home. That's where she stepped. When she stepped into Guyana, the first home she stepped into was my parents' home. And so that was where I met her. And so, yes, I was older than you. I had just begun to work, and I wasn't a student like you are. But we're all students, right? We're lifelong students.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So my first question is that I'm in my last year of middle school, and I feel that I'm getting more assignments from school and after school activities. And due to time clashes, I'm unable to attend some of Baba's Murli and meditation sessions, which I was able to attend before. So in your beginning years, in the midst of all of your activities, how did you manage to fit all of Baba's practices into your daily life?
Well, one of the things I understood from the daddies in particular is that whatever I'm doing in relation to what Baba is asking me to do should never become a pressure for me. The moment it becomes a pressure, I cease to enjoy it. And if I continue to follow it under pressure, invariably, I'm not going to be taking any benefit from it. And it's not going to bring me closer to Baba because I'm not doing it with love. So if you see, we have a life that we have to live. And as we live our lives, the things that we do at different periods in our lives become important in our development as a human being, in what we want to do and what we want to be. So in school, for instance, when I was at school, when I was at high school, middle high school, I didn't have as many assignments as you do. We did not have information technology at hand. We didn't have the internet. Everything was not at our fingertips. We had to go to libraries and read books and do research. But here, everything, you're inundated with information at the touch of a finger. So that in itself occupies a lot of your time and your energy, as it were, in studying. So what I would suggest to you is recognize that this is a time in your life that you need to pay attention to studying. It's very important in your life, because if you don't do well at middle school, then when you get to senior high, and then from senior high, you have to be applying at universities, And if there's a weakness in the chain of your studies, then it will affect you. It will affect what university you want to go and how you want to study. And so you must pay attention to that, but not be overwhelmed by it. You know, you do it in portions that you could manage, right? And it's not putting a pressure on you. Now, Baba says there's always time to do what I'm asking of you, because that will give you strength. It will give you, we call it capacity. Capacity means inside of me, I feel like I have the space to do other things, no matter how much. So I feel bigger than my schoolwork. I feel I could manage my schoolwork. I could manage it, I could control it, etc. Because inside of me, I'm feeling I have space. So when I follow what Baba is telling me, he gives me strength, he gives me a big, generous space within, and he gives me a direction that I should go in. So balance your life, your study life. So for instance, if you can't read the whole Murli, read the essence, read the question and answer, read the blessing and the slogan. If you can't do all, do the blessing. You choose which one, but do a little bit. That's what he says. One step of courage brings multi-million-fold help from him. If I can't do an hour meditation in the morning, then do 5 minutes. But do it. But do it in the amount of time and in the quantity that you don't feel pressured by it. And just that little bit will go a long way. And you would continue loving Baba, you would continue loving to follow what he's telling you to do, even though you're doing it in a little bit, you know, in little portions. But don't neglect either one of your lives, Lokik or Alokik, but it doesn't mean I have to do it all. I can do it in little portions and Baba will help me, but the courage to do the little portion is very important.
Yes, sister. I really liked how you mentioned that we should use Baba's practices as strength to help us with our Lokik studies and outside assignments and tasks. So my second question is, if I have a hobby or a talent that I invest some time in, such as singing or dance, and if I find ways to consciously incorporate something related to Baba into these tasks, will it be considered as Baba's remembrance, or is it only sitting in silence with full focus that counts as remembering Baba?
It would be count as Baba's remembrance because you are a karma yogi. And a karma yogi means that there's a purpose to your actions. And a hobby, in this case, is a creative action, is a poetic action. And so what you're doing, what is so beautiful about what you're doing it for the love of God. You're not doing it for the love of the art. And so because you already are saying, oh, I am learning to dance because I'm dancing for Baba. You know, I am his gopi and I'm dancing. And so who is in your consciousness when you're learning the art of dancing? Who are you dancing for? You're dancing for Baba. So he's seeing you dance. And that gives you the art, the hobby in itself, a great deal of purpose. So yes, you are remembering Baba when you're doing that.
Thank you. I really like that point. And I would also just like to ask you if you have any special talents that you've used in Baba's service.
No, I don't have any special talent, but I'll tell you a story. I'm like jack of all trades, but master of none. In other words, Baba calls us all-rounders. So whatever he tells you to do, in the moment you do it, and in doing it, you learn to do it, but you don't come in to do it as an expert that I already know. So I'm one of those who he says, okay, Gayatri, go serve at the UN. Oh my God, I don't know what you're telling me to do. Just do it. And you then learn how to do it. And so that is my way of being with Baba. I'm jack of all trades. And then I begin to master them with his guidance and his help. But, you know, he also uses this word specialty. You bring a specialty to everything you do. And then sometimes we call that specialty as an expertise, but he doesn't like us to call it an expertise because he's saying you come to Baba And Baba then gives you the gifts of specialties. And so I much rather to see the way I do Baba's service is recognizing the specialty that he has given to me. So the story is, I didn't even know what my specialty is. So once I was in front of Bab Dada, and I said, the whole Murli was on specialties. And I said, Baba, what is my specialty? He says, you don't know your specialty? I said, no. He says, your specialty is love. And I was like shocked, love? Nobody thinks I'm loving. They all think I'm lawful. As soon as they see me, oh, Sister Gayatri, they should discipline us. And so I said, then he must have read my mind. And he said, no, your specialty is love. And do you know what your love is? And he said, your specialty of love is that you only do things because of your love for God. So because of your love for God, you do what you do. And I think that is my specialty. And so that's what I bring to whatever I do.
Wow, that's beautiful, having speciality of love. So my final question is, what is a practical way to remove fear and anxiety in some areas by using spirituality? Because I know I can always call Baba and rely on his help, but is there anything more I can do for this?
You have a conversation with yourself. And so whenever there's fear, first of all, you accept there's fear. Don't suppress it and don't be in denial of it. Go to Baba's room and open up your heart to him and say, Baba, I'm experiencing this fear. And then what I do, I ask myself, what am I afraid of? And if my answer is connected to, I'm afraid of this person, I know that I'm lying to myself. I'm not afraid of that person. I'm afraid of something inside of me. So then I ask myself the question, Baba, show me what is inside of me that is creating a fear in me. And then that's how you remove the fear, because then in a murli or by a touching from Baba or someone saying something to you, you would get the aha moment. I don't have to be afraid of that. And even I'll tell you, when I was learning to drive, we used to have to do something called defensive driving, and I'm sure you're going to begin to learn to drive soon, or are you already driving?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so you're going to begin to drive soon. And we used to have to do here in New York City, I think something like 6 hours of just watching videos and learning defensive driving. And then the director who was taking us through these videos had to talk to us about it. And he says that when you are driving and you are in danger, the first thing that you must do is what? And he went around the room and we all had to answer it. And he said, and the answer was, do not be afraid. And that's what Baba tells us to. Whenever you encounter something that makes you a smaller person or makes you afraid, then remember what Baba says, do not be afraid. I am with you. I am your companion. And when you are combined with me, there's nothing to be afraid of. So remember that. And that's how you get rid of fear. Anxiety is don't think too much. Because if you think too much, then you create the anxiety for yourself. Because you're thinking about things that may never happen. So we're wasting our thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. So anxiety means a fear of the future, right? And so I keep thinking, what could happen? What should happen? It shouldn't be like that. But Dadi Janki used to say, don't think. And then I say to her, well, if you tell me don't think, who will think for me? It says, I will think for you. And I said, what about if you think of something that I can't do? She says, I will never think something. I could think something that you can't do, but I will never think something that I can't do. So I will help you do it. So it's the same with Baba. Don't think about it. Let Baba think for you. And he will always think about the things that are real and true and that will happen. he wouldn't think about things that would create anxiety, because he knows the future. And that's why he wants us to be Trikaldarshi. Don't worry about the future. Your future is in good hands. It's in Baba's hands.
Yes, sister. I'll definitely put these points into practice. Thank you. Mom and Dad, do you want to ask some questions now?
Do you want to?
Okay. Yeah, that was a wonderful interaction. I never thought so many questions are there. Thank you, sister, for answering everything, every questions. And we are very, we are blessed with, we are so blessed. We are connected to this family, and we are very fortunate to meet you. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I do have one question. Again, it's related to a parenting. Tia turned 13 this year. She's in the teenage phase, and it's a crucial phase, as we know. All these years, it was a different phase, and we used to help her and each of her activities. Now, because of her phase changes, sometimes we feel that we don't know whether we are giving her too much freedom, or are we setting a right boundaries, also following a Srimad. We cannot just leave and give her a full independence. Sometimes we need to set the boundaries. So what is your advice or any tips so that we can approach this situation in a different way, but following the Srimad, not leaving the Srimad? So what's your best advice, or you can?
Well, my best advice is that Sia is a soul in her own right, with a part of her own. And she's a child of Baba, right? And she has been put in your trust. And you, as parents, have been given the responsibility to create an environment for her to flourish in. And it's your responsibility, first and foremost, to make sure she flourishes. And flourishes means she grows with happiness. She's nurtured with love. She is trusted. Now, the beautiful thing about Sia is that she was brought up in Baba's values. She was brought up in Baba's Maryadas. And so you as parents set her a very good foundation. At 13, she's growing up now, and she's maturing into a very different phase of life. And so I think that the Maryadas are already with her. She knows them. Baba's inheritance is already with her. She's claimed them. Baba is, all relationships with Baba are in her heart. She's experienced them. And now you have to trust.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that's the key here. Parents trusting their children to grow in their unique ways without doubting that they will move away from Baba, Baba's Maryadas, and Baba's niyams, Baba's disciplines. And so I would say trust her and observe the beauty of when she blooms into her unique personality, and be proud of that.
Thank
Also
you.
trust that she will never, she will make mistakes, and it's good if she makes mistakes, because she will learn from them. She will mature from them, but she will never do something against her own value system. She will stay true to that. And you have given her, through being parents, Brahmins, you have given her that gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Baba will guide her through that. So give her the space to grow. Don't close her in. But of course, as parents, you've got to be responsible to make sure that when those mistakes are made and she needs you to be there for her, you are there for her with an open heart and a non-judgmental attitude, and with unconditional love.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, sister. Yeah, that answers the question. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
So thank you, Sister Gayatri, for your inputs. for Sia and for us as parents. So I do have one question for you. Um, I would like to ask from your experience, um, which in the beginning you have been asked for some discipline or some practice that you like to your parents or somebody from Baba's family or Dadi's asked you to do, and you which you hated in the beginning, and but now it is a part of your life, and because of that particular discipline you have grown so much. So is there anything of that sort do you want to share with us?
I think there are two things that is that made me grow from the daddies. And one is from Daddy G, Daddy Prakashmani, Daddy Kumarka, we used to call her. And Daddy Prakashmani always encourages us to grow with integrity. And integrity means you must be honest on the inside and honest, clean on the inside, clean on the outside. What you see on the outside is what it is on the inside. And so if you were saying something to her, come clean, say to her as it is. And even don't hide names. Don't say, Daddy, this, tell her about something, but don't tell her who you're talking about. She wants you to come clean. And so one day, how did I learn that lesson? She came to me and she told me, she says, Gayatri, Daddy heard you're upset. And I said, Daddy, I'm upset. She said, yes. And I said to her, Daddy, who told you that? And she looked me straight in the face and she said, Daddy Janki told me that. And that moment, it was such a big lesson for me. She did not hesitate to tell me who told her that I was upset. So she came clean with me. So how did I respond? I had to come clean with her to tell her why I was upset. So that for me was something that a discipline of cleanliness. When you want cleanliness in a relationship with another, you have to be clean with them first. And I think that made me mature in my heart, not to carry feelings about people. And if you put in a corner, you be as honest as you can. And the other, I know Didi used to tell, of course, Daddy Janki told us thousands of things, but I'm telling you things about people that you may not have heard a lot about, which is Daddy Prakashmani and Didi Ji, Didi Manmohini. And she would always say, if you say, Didi, such and such a thing is happening, how do you correct it? Things happen in the world, happen in life, happen. How do you correct it? And she says, Brahmin life is not about correction. Brahmin life is about connection. So if something is going wrong, you connect to Baba and let him correct it. You do not take the law in your own hands. And that also made me mature when it comes to Baba, the authority that Baba is giving us in certain positions that we serve in. You remember, you do not take the law in your own hands. You have a connection with him, hand it over to him and let him deal with it. So I also learned that. And you know what? It made life very easy, because imagine if you walked around trying to correct everyone, what life would be like. It would be one big burden. But to hand it over to him in that connection, there's a lightness. That who is responsible ultimately? It's Baba. So those were my two lessons.
Thank you, sister. We will try to incorporate those in our lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all three. Sia, are you happy?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much.
Right?
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Avyakti Parivar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om
Thank you.
Shanti.
Thank you, Angel. It was a wonderful chit chat. Thank you for coming to Avyakti Parivar.